South Africa, but in over 80 countries. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. The Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, was launched on the 1st of December 1985 in the midst of political upheaval against the apartheid government. Now, the aim was to unify the various trade unions under one umbrella. It consolidated the plight of the working class, mobilizing them into a formidable force, and it has since gained unbelievable support, which has contributed to the stature it is today. Now, we're joined in studio by Patrick Craven. He's the spokesperson of COSATU. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Today is Workers' Day. That's what I was alluding to in the intro about how important it is in the life of South Africans. But I want to know, as far as COSATU is concerned, how important a day is today?
Well, for workers, it's probably the most important day. And as you say, it's not just South Africa, but all over the world. Workers are coming together on the streets, in stadiums, in meetings, to assess what they've achieved so far, to celebrate successes, to mourn their losses, and to remember those who've lost their lives in the struggle for workers' rights. But above all, I think to recommit themselves to our objectives, which is to improve the lives of working people and change the whole basis of society into one which treats workers with dignity and respect, given that they are, after all, the people who create all the wealth that every country has. I'm
going to talk to you about some of those issues that you've raised about the people who create the wealth not benefiting as much as those who, I suppose, are industry leaders. But we'll discuss that in just a moment. I want to find out from you how COSATU plans to mark today. Perhaps talk us through some of the events. I do understand we have a graphic that we'll be playing as well, just to show South Africans how the Congress is going to be marking today. Perhaps talk us through some of your events.
Yes, we have 27 events taking place, some big, some small, but all of them accessible to your viewers. The big national one this year is in Polokwane, which will be addressed not only by the COSATU president, Stu Dlamini, but the country's president, Jacob Zuma, and the general secretary of the South African Communist Party. But we have, in every other province, we have rallies. Here in Gauteng, there's one in Daveyton, and others in Durban, Cape Town. I can't possibly list all 27, but I hope the graphic will give some of the details.
Let's bring it now back to local issues. We've seen so many strikes in South Africa where workers are asking for more pay, for a decent wage, decent working conditions. I know the one in the Platinum Belt is not a union that's under the Congress of South African Trade Unions. It's not under your particular federation. But let's speak in general now about the plight of workers in South Africa. Have we made great strides, do you think?
In terms of wages, no. We've just been celebrating 20 years of democracy, and of course we've made great strides in terms of human rights and democracy. Workers, we should never forget, used to be treated as little better than slaves. But in terms of the economy, no. We believe that there are far too many workers on poverty wages, far too many unemployed, and at the same time we have employers who are amongst the richest in the world. There was a very revealing report in one of the Sunday papers which showed that South African top executives are now second highest paid in the world. Only in America do executives get paid more. They get more than their counterparts in European countries. And yet if you look at the wages of workers in European countries, they're many times bigger than the workers' wages in South Africa. So I think that shows that the distribution of wealth in this country is grossly unfair and unequal. And that is one of our biggest demands. And in particular, we've called for a national minimum wage as a way of making sure that the people at the very bottom level achieve a certain basic minimum, which is enough to live a reasonable life.
Let's talk about the muscle now of the Congress of South African Trade Unions as a trade union federation. Many people have accused COSATU of failing workers, perhaps because they're too entangled in politics or perhaps because of their infighting within the body. Are you still pushing the agenda of the workers?
Definitely. And you say that some people criticize COSATU for failing the workers. You get plenty of people from the employer side who say COSATU is far too strong, demanding far too much. and should be restricted in what it can do. We're not complacent. We accept that we could do more, and we're always looking to find ways in which we can provide a better service to the workers. But the big underlying problem is that we have such high levels of unemployment and consequently poverty that it makes the job of the trade unions more difficult. It puts the employer in a stronger position. If that employer knows that there are 100 workers in the street outside looking for jobs, they can then tell their workers, right, accept what I'm offering or else. That's why we need trade unions, and we would much prefer united, strong trade unions. And it's very unfortunate that we still have these divisions within the trade union movement, which can only be have a negative effect. And so we're doing everything we can to try to recreate unity, which to a huge extent we did in 1985. But even then, there were unions who did not join in COSATU, and that remains our long-term aim. But in the meantime, we will continue and are continuing with all the day-to-day work of collective bargaining, of taking cases to the CCMA, of getting involved in NEDLAC, discussing policy issues.
Now, I know the focus of today's interview is, of course, on Workers' Day, but COSATU has become almost synonymous with workers. So I must just ask in closing, and as briefly as possible, is all well in COSATU?
We wouldn't say all is well, we have to be honest. There have been differences of opinion. Processes are underway to try to bring them together. But we must stress that it doesn't mean that COSATU is paralysed. All the day-to-day trade union work is continuing, and workers should be confident that if they join a trade union, ask for assistance, that assistance will be there, and we will do everything we can to help, while at the same time, of course, campaigning for more fundamental changes in the way society, and particularly the economy, operates to make it a more just and equal society for the workers.
We'll have to leave it there. And I did ask you just briefly off air if one can say Happy Workers' Day. And you said, yes, it's a happy day to celebrate workers and also to come alongside them and support them, yes?
Absolutely. The rallies won't just be long speeches. There will be entertainment, food. Bring your family and have a good day out.
There we go. Thank you so much for joining us. COSATU spokesperson there, Patrick Craven, just giving us an update on how workers should celebrate today and all things concerned when it comes to Workers' Day. So happy Workers' Day to you again. To celebrate a little bit, we're going to be bringing